Hello, everyone. My name is Erin Fernández from Green River College Language Center, and I am here to introduce our tandem virtual exchange program that we've been having going on for the past few years together. So I wanted to introduce you to Bethzabé López from Centro de Alto Acceso from University of Mexico, Morelia, and Teresa Suarez from the tandem program from University of Mexico, Morelia. We've been doing this exchange for the last few years in order to help students initiate conversation with each other over themes like the classes they're taking, the celebrations that they have in their particular countries, talking about their families and traditions and their different cultures, and have an actual real cultural exchange. Not like they're having a host family, but pretty similar to that. So we have a half an hour in Spanish and a half an hour in English. It's perfect for our students because at Green River College, we have students who are learning Spanish as a second language. And in Mexico and Morelia, they have students of English as a second language. So they exchange a half an hour for a half an hour without having to exchange any money or pay for any services. They're exchanging their native languages. So through this work, they're creating global connections with low risk. They are increasing their intercultural competency by having these cultural conversations in which they're producing language output, which is shown to actually increase language proficiency, which is another goal of our center. And also all of that without having to leave their country. So with all of that, I would like to pass it off to my colleague, Bethzabé López from UNAM.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Erin. And yes, indeed, one of the most enriching and engaging experiences I have had as an ESOL teacher was integrating the tandem language exchange program into the classroom. Tandem is a collaborative language learning approach that pairs students from different linguistic and cultural backgrounds to help each other improve their target languages through authentic conversation and mutual support. Rather than relying on a traditional teacher-led setting, Tandem focuses on learner autonomy, real-world communication, and intercultural exchange. In our case, we were working with students from the University of Mexico in Morelia, as Erin said, and Green River College in Washington, United States. The sessions were designed to allow learners to alternate between English and Spanish, giving each group an equal opportunity to practice their second language. These conversations were structured around culturally relevant themes, everyday situations, and personal interests, making the experience highly relatable and meaningful. One of the main highlights of how motivated and encouraged the students became after a few sessions, they were not only using English or Spanish to complete tasks, but also to connect with real people with their own age, who had different perspectives and life experiences. Many students reported that their confidence in speaking grew significantly because they felt supported and understood by their tandem partners. In addition to improving their language skills, students develop valuable intercultural communication abilities. They learn to listen actively, show empathy, ask questions sensitively, and navigate cultural differences with openness and curiosity. Discussions often extended beyond the classroom, touching on topics such as traditions, music, school life, and future goals, creating a bridge between cultures and textbooks simply can't offer. Perhaps the most touching outcomes was the number of students who formed genuine friendship. Several pairs continued to stay in touch long after the program ended, using social media or messaging in apps, maintain their exchanges. So for many, Tandem was not only a learning experience, but a personal journey that broadened their horizons and sparked lasting connections. In conclusion, using Tandem in the ESOL classroom proved to be dynamic and transformative experience of both students and the teacher. I brought language to life, fostered meaningful interactions, and highlighted the human side of language learning. I would highly recommend it to any educator looking to create a more interactive, global, and student-centered classroom. In these programs that we just finished, we didn't do a questionnaire at the beginning because we didn't have it ready, but now we have some possible questions that we are going to use in our further programs. We are planning to make a questionnaire pre-program, and the questions are going to be intended into language and intercultural issues. Some possible questions in attitude towards learning a second language could be, how assured do you feel when conversing in your second language? What are your primary objectives for enhancing your second language skills? What aspects do you find enjoyable or challenging when acquiring a new language? How frequently do you agree in speaking or writing in your second language beyond the classroom? What activities do you believe are most effective for language learning? For example, discussions, grammar exercises, watching videos, etc. And focusing on awareness of intercultural issues, some of the questions may be, what do you understand about the culture of your language exchanges partner's country? How receptive are you to exploring new cultures? Have you ever experienced a miscommunication due to cultural differences? Can you describe what occurred? In your opinion, does culture influence communication styles? If so, explain how. And what are your expectations regarding collaboration with individuals from different cultures? All these questions that I just did are pre-program that at the beginning, and we are planning to do a questionnaire closing the program that will follow the information from the questions in the pre-program. So now I am going to introduce my partner, Teresa Suarez, who is going to talk about her experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Well, I would like to share my experience. I've been involved in the Tandem project as a teacher, but also as a participant in the COIL experience, which was actually my first real contact with visual language exchange programs. It was through that first COIL experience that I became truly curious about how these models work from the inside, how students benefit, how the structure is built, and especially how the intercultural component plays out. That's when I decided I wanted to get involved more actively. And since then, I've been working closely with Betsy and with Erin. This collaboration has been one of the most enriching parts of my teaching career so far. Together, we work not only in logistics and planning, but also on developing materials and discussion prompts that support genuine communication. We encourage students to talk about culture, their cities, their university, their common life, etc. But still, we have seen some obstacles. We know that students often hesitate to join when they don't know what to expect or when it's not tied to a formal course. Some are afraid their level isn't good enough, while others simply don't have time due to their academic loads. And yet, those who do participate almost always say it was worth the effort. They gain confidence, not just in the language, but in themselves. And many realize for the first time they can actually communicate and be understood by a native speaker. And that's a powerful moment. We also witnessed how this session fostered empathy. Students start to listen more actively. In fact, They ask better questions, and they learn to manage misunderstandings with patience instead of frustration. These are life skills that go beyond language. So I truly believe that language centers and educators in general should advocate for more opportunities like this. The intercultural component adds real depth to their learning experience. We're no longer just referring to grammar labs or tutoring spaces or traditional teaching. We're talking about dynamic ecosystems where real-world communication, intercultural understanding, and global communication and collaboration take place. Programs like Tandem and COIL show us that what's possible when we trust students, when we give them autonomy and connect them across borders. And yes, there are challenges, scheduling, motivation, awareness, but the outcome speak for themselves. So as we think about the future of our language centers, maybe the question isn't whether we should include programs like Tandem or COIL, but how can we not include them? Well, thank you. Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Betsy. That's my participation.
Well, thank you very much for attending our session. I'm Erin Fernández Malmer from Green River College Language Center, and we would like to invite you to join with us, and we would like to also create a center in the future that includes other language centers with other languages that do exchanges with, for example, Spanish at a certain hour all across the world in different language centers, and vice versa for other languages as well. And I would like to hand it off to say goodbye to you, to Betsy and Tere.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Betsy.
Bye. Thank you for attending. Feel free to contact us. Our emails will be in the next slide.